time for Wave 3 Listens Live on Kentuckiana's first live local TV talk show, all hosted by John Ramsey. This is Wave 3 Listens Live.
And welcome. The weekend continues here at Wave 3 Listens Live because we feel very good about this show today. It's your roadmap to retirement. How to secure your retirement so that you have the retirement that you've dreamed about with Brookstone Financial. We've talked about a number of topics here, but let's take a look-see about what we're going to talk about today. With me once again is the managing partner from Brookstone Financial, Seth Stewart. He is also a registered investment advisor. A lot of titles there, Seth.
Yep, the alphabet soup, right?
And a husband and a dad and all those good things too.
And a coach.
There. Oh, is that? Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Now you
baseball,
coach?
Man. It's almost that time of year too. I'm excited.
Very cool. All right. Well, let's talk about, first of all, reflect a little bit. Last week's show, we talked a little bit about your roadmap to retirement and how to get there in a secure fashion and in an educational way. We talked about that. Today's topic a little bit different, right?
Yeah, John, we're going to talk about how to protect your retirement once you actually get there. Here's the problem I see in a nutshell with most people that come see us. You know, they have all this stuff. They come in with statements, the IRAs, the 401ks, the brokerage accounts, and so on. But there's very little correlation. You know, which account do I ultimately draw from first and why? And that's what we do at Brookstone Financial. We build a roadmap to their retirement so they know exactly year by year where they're going for their retirement income. And that gives them peace of mind.
You know, there's some buzz about your company out on the street. And when people ask me, I say it's really not about products. Although you do give them choices, it's more about results and more about individual goals for each individual client, correct?
Yeah, John, that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up because we work with a lot of clients that may still have money with their brother-in-law at the local bank. Maybe their nephew is a broker or investment advisor, you know, at a local firm. And we ultimately come in and put together the plan. And we can feed in those accounts. I mean, they can stay where they're at the bank, at the local brokerage firm. But ultimately what we do, again, is build the roadmap, which is due to technology. And the beauty of technology is that we have the ability to monitor and maintain their plan on an ongoing basis. And it really helps us take emotion out of the equation and look at these decisions as a business decision and not an emotional type of knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah, you admitted before you're a numbers guy, and in this case I think that's a good thing. If someone's dealing with my retirement, I like the fact that you're a numbers guy, and it's like I want to show you where the trends are going. Speaking of trends, we know about the roller coaster which is our U.S. economy. However, there has been one constant, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about today, is the rising cost of healthcare.
Yeah, the rising cost of healthcare, and John in particular with our client base, or a large part of them, you know, the likelihood that they may face the need for some type of long-term care or assisted living or adult daycare in the future. And you know, the numbers are staggering, and you have to look at these trends. I mean, as a society, John, we're living longer. Unfortunately, we're not necessarily living healthy, but we're living longer. And the costs of this type of care, adult daycare, assisted living centers, nursing homes, I mean, in Indiana right now alone, the average cost of long-term care in a semi-private room is around $80,000 a year. Those costs are increasing at a rate of probably 6, maybe even 9% per year. And we're just on the leading edge of a tsunami of baby boomers entering retirement. And I see financial plans, retirement plans, being completely derailed because these individuals are blindsided by these costs.
You know, you mentioned something to me before we went on camera. You said not only does that affect the individual who may have to be admitted to a long-term health care facility, but also the spouse. The spouse who maybe didn't plan on this when they were thinking about or planning for their retirement, right?
Exactly. I mean, it's often the community spouse or the healthy spouse at home that's stuck, you know, dealing with the aftermath. And I mean, here's the thing, John, they're dealing with an emotional crisis first and foremost. I mean, this is a loved one, their spouse, a family member that needs this type of care that they never planned on. That's an emotional crisis, and that's first and foremost. But then you compound or layer on the financial aspects and the costs, and where do I come up with the money to pay for this, and how does it affect my retirement in the future? And the retirement roadmap system, what it does, just to kind of come back to that and tie this together, the retirement roadmap lets us foresee those types of events, or the likelihood that maybe one of those events occurs in the future, and we can address, okay, how would that affect me if in fact I needed nursing home care 15, 20 years from now? We have a little short segment, a little video clip that shows us exactly how the case of John and Jane Doe, how they would be affected. It all comes down to this probability of success, John, and we all need to know this. What's the probability that I will accomplish my goals in retirement? Currently, this individual, John and Jane Doe, put him at 94%. If I put John in the nursing home at age 80, okay, for 3 years, it drops to 51%. Now that's actually assisted living, all right, which assisted living costs are about $40,000 a year. Put him in the nursing home, those rates, the probability goes to 0. So it just blows up the plan. So we have to address these costs some way, shape, or form. You got to have a plan for this.
Wow. So being a numbers guy, how do you address that? I'm sure it's much more complex than we can cover in 30 minutes, but what are the options that you're currently looking at, Seth?
Yeah, okay, so here's the thing about traditional long-term care insurance that I've always had somewhat of an issue with. I call it the use it or lose it proposition. And here's what could ultimately play out. You could pick up traditional long-term care insurance, pay premium year after year after year, and let's say we pass away in our sleep, right? We never see the benefit of anything we've ever paid in. There's no benefit to the family or the spouse, so it's a use it or lose it type of proposition. What's become very, very popular is what we call hybrid long-term care insurance. Hybrid long-term care insurance, you have a death benefit, but you also have a long-term care benefit tied to the same policy. So the bottom line is someone in your family is always going to see the benefit of that policy, whether it's a death benefit when you pass away, or whether it's a long-term care benefit that pays for that type of care in the future.
I like the sound of that. By the way, if you have a question about your roadmap to retirement, 571-5263. As we said, he is a registered investment advisor as well as a managing partner at Brookstone Financial. I like your philosophy, and this is something I knew we were going to talk about, but this is complex. I think being a numbers guy, again, all indicators are that the cost of healthcare will continue to rise, correct?
I do believe so. I mean, again, John, the writing's on the wall because of the baby boomers. You know, 10,000 each day turning 65. So this type of care, there's facilities going up right and left. And we do a lot of business out in the Madison area. And we were just at a meeting the other night out in Madison. They're opening up a new assisted living center in Madison. I mean, these centers are going up right and left around the U.S. And the occupancy rates currently in those facilities are near 100%. So with this tsunami of baby boomers, you know, the aging population, the demand is, the long-term demand is there.
Makes perfect sense. All right, we're going to throw up some information. We have also some events that are coming up, but first of all, just some information on Brookstone Financial, locations, where you are, and if you would, please, Seth, tell them exactly where they can find your offices.
Yeah, John, we have offices currently in Louisville, Jeffersonville. As I mentioned, we're out in Madison quite a bit, and then out in the Jasper area. Now, we do have some upcoming events, which I'd like to promote here. We do have an antique appraisal service. We have a professional appraiser that will be coming to the office, both there in Jeffersonville and out in Jasper. Jeffersonville's February 12th from 3 to 7. We're treating it like an open house. So we're going to have hors d'oeuvres, snacks, drinks on hand. And then out in Jasper, February 19th, again, it's an open house format between 3 to 7 p.m. Call the number there, 288-9000, if you'd like to RSVP.
All right. We'll also have another event we'll talk about here very shortly. Actually, is that it on the CL? She went ahead and threw it up. That's good.
It's the IRA Legacy Planning Workshop. And, you know, John, first and foremost, our job is to help our clients plan for retirement. A close second to that is how to efficiently transfer what's left to the next generation. That's our IRA Legacy Planning Workshop. Kingfish in Jeffersonville, March 12th and 17th, and Clifty Falls, Madison, Indiana, that's March 5th, March 10th. Again, call 288-9000.
I tell you, Seth, although I want a great retirement, I have to admit, as far as what I leave my kids, I've already told them my last check will bounce. I'm just letting you know, boys, it's nothing left.
I hear that a lot.
All right. Coming up, we'll take your phone calls, 571-5263 if you'd like to call. We'll remind you about those events, and we're talking about protecting your retirement today with Brookstone Financial and Seth Stewart. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're talking to Seth Stewart of Brookstone Financial, your roadmap to retirement. And Seth, a lot of good information on your website.
There is, John. Our website is very interactive, and for those that want to learn more about Brookstone Financial, visit our website, brookstonefinancial.com. You can click Let's Get Started in the upper right-hand corner, or you can click Learn More about the Retirement Roadmap System just to get a feel of what we have to offer at Brookstone Financial.
All right, today we're talking about protecting your retirement. It's been very interesting because with the rising cost of health care that we're all aware of, we were bombarded when we watch the news with that rising cost of health care. How do you protect yourself? How do you protect this roadmap to retirement that you've worked so hard for? And that's really the focus of today's show, Seth.
It is, John. And you know, the statistics are staggering, and we have some visuals here that I'd like to show the viewers at home. And again, it's all about protecting that retirement. But if you look at the odds of different circumstances happening to you during your life, I mean, here's the odds of your house having a fire, 1 in 1,200, right? If you don't think that can ever happen to you, let me tell you something, John. That happened to my wife and I. We lost our first home in a house fire. So with
everyone was okay, though.
Everything was okay. Yeah, but think about this. We are insuring that risk because most Americans have homeowners insurance. Rolling forward, here's the odds of losing your automobile being completely totaled in your lifetime, 5 in 1,200. Yes, most people hopefully are driving around with car insurance. Here's the odds of being hospitalized, 105 in 1,200. Hopefully we have some form of health care insurance in place. But look at the odds of needing long-term care during your lifetime. 720 out of 1,200, and the vast majority of Americans are not protecting
Look at that. That looks like
risk.
Looks like I'm at the Yum Center at a U of L game. All that
yeah,
red.
There you go.
That's not good.
Yeah.
That's not good. That's scary. But you know what that really does? It's a nice little comparison because the likelihood of that happening is very, very high. So we've been talking about how to protect that and how you get in front of that, because I think once it happens and you're admitted into a healthcare facility, how do you recover?
At that point, it may be a little too late. Now, there are some legal strategies about protecting assets and so on and so forth, but in our opinion, the best type of planning is pre-planning for these expenses or potential expenses. We want to plan for them when they're out here, not when they're right here in front of our face and we have very little time on hand. We use what's called 3-bucket long-term care insurance. I love this type of insurance, and if we can go back to the monitor here, I want to explain exactly how this works, because with 3-bucket long-term care insurance, you have 3 things going for you. First of all, let's say, John, we make a $50,000 deposit into this type of policy. It's called a single premium. First of all, bucket 1 is fully liquid. If we ever want to reach in and take that deposit out, we can take it out. We never lose control of it. Now, immediately after we make that deposit, John, this is all about leverage. Bucket number 2 gives us a death benefit, and the multiplier is typically 2 to 1. So if I put in $50,000 to protect myself, I have immediately, day 1, approximately $100,000 death benefit. So if I don't use the long-term care, my heirs, my spouse, gets the $100,000. And they get it tax-free, too, because it is life insurance. But here's where the long-term care aspect comes into play. The leverage on the deposit for protecting against long-term care expenses is approximately 4 to 1. So if I need to access this money to pay or offset those costs, I have access to $200,000. That's a lot of leverage. It's a 4 to 1 leverage ratio on my initial deposit. This is a great type of coverage that addresses use it or lose it. Okay, because by doing it this way, someone is always going to see the benefit. Whether it's me, say I'm the insured and I want to reach in there and take all my money out, I can do that. Or whether it's my spouse, God forbid I pass away, she gets the death benefit tax-free, or comes back to me again if I need the long-term care. Now I have a $200,000, in my example, $200,000 bucket that I can draw from to offset those expenses.
Interesting, Seth. It sounds so good. I like the coverage. I'm curious about, so why would anyone choose something else? What are the alternatives? Are there special cases where you go, okay, maybe this isn't what you want?
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up, okay, because per the example that I just showed, I mean, you can see how this type of coverage requires a substantial deposit on the front end. It's not something where you're paying monthly ongoing premium. But there's good news about that too. If you're paying ongoing monthly premium in a traditional long-term care insurance policy, the insurance company always reserves the right to raise that premium in the future. But if I make my deal on the front end and I make a single deposit, I've capped my costs. I know all the numbers on the front end of the deal, and there's no risk of them raising them in the future.
Interesting.
Yeah, so not everyone has enough liquid cash or after-tax money to drop into a policy like this.
I'm glad that Brookstone makes us aware of this type of coverage. Why wouldn't other investment advisors show you this type of hybrid insurance?
It really comes down to the way people are licensed. I mean, ultimately, you know, I've heard, we had an annuity conversation the other week. I mean, I've often heard brokers say, oh, stay away from those annuities, and then the annuity guys say, hey, stay away from the stocks and bonds. I mean, we're licensed across the universe of investment options and insurance products, so that's probably the primary reason. I mean, we carry all the licenses because holistic planning. I mean, you have to have access to all the tools in the toolbox to build a comprehensive plan.
Yep, and I like the word comprehensive. I like holistic. It all sounds good. Now, so folks are out there watching say, I like the way they do it at Brookstone, these different options that I have and these new products that I'm not aware of. What's the first step to find out what is right for you?
Yeah, the first step is giving us a call. You know, give us a call, schedule a complimentary consultation. There's no obligation. I mean, you have nothing to lose, everything to gain from taking advantage of that 1-hour consultation, or go to our website at brookstonefinancial.com. There you can download a lot of material, a lot of video resources, third-party articles on different topics that we discuss here on the show. But that's the first step. If you go there and you download one of those documents, watch one of the videos, one of our staff members will reach out and book that first appointment. So that's the first step, John.
That's interesting, you know, and as you said, you have a team there. So if you happen, maybe you don't relate to a numbers guy like Seth, but Seth, you'll still be involved in their individual case, for lack of a better word, right?
I do, and our whole philosophy is one relationship, a team of professionals. I mean, there's just so much going on in the financial world today, the insurance world, the planning world. You know, I couldn't possibly keep up with everything. So we have a great team at Brookstone. We all have our unique expertise, and we collectively, we collaborate on behalf of our clients to build our financial plans.
And nice guys as well, because coming up we're going to prove that. A free lunch, how about that, to Cluckers in Jeffersonville? Coming up, we're going to have a trivia question. And actually, it is related to retirement and insurance. We're going to throw this at you here in a second. And if you're the first one with the correct answer, you get a $25 gift certificate to Cluckers in Jeffersonville. More information on Brookstone Financial. Remember, you're more than welcome to call 571-5263. We'll be right back with Seth Stewart on Wave 3 Listens. All righty, here's the trivia question, and I was wrong. It's not a $25 gift certificate. It is a $30 gift certificate to Cluckers in Jeffersonville. Seth, you go ahead and do the honors here.
Yeah, John, so we've been talking about long-term care insurance. How many Americans actually have long-term care insurance? Is it A, 5 million, B, 1 million, C, 8 million, or D, 20 million?
All righty, first caller with the correct answer. Number up on the screen is 888-800-9283. First caller, correct answer, $30 gift certificate to Cluckers. All right, question for you. We talked about this hybrid insurance. Yeah. I like the sound of that because I hear this often. I hear folks say, I've been paying premiums into my life insurance, and it keeps going up, and they get to the point where they really can't afford it. It doesn't make financial sense. Is there really a cap on how much they can raise your insurance? I mean, isn't there something that says, no, you can't go that? There's not?
No, there's not. I mean, unfortunately, there's not, and that is scary. Oof. I mean, you could literally be backed into a corner where you've paid this premium for 10, 15, 20 years, and then you see significant rate increases. And we saw a 30% rate increase a couple years ago from a major insurance company, okay, very large insurance company, 30% rate increase. Clients have been paying premium for years. They really have no choice. They walk away with nothing, or they pay the 30% increase. I mean, that's really your only option at that point.
Well, where there is a void, there is an answer. And is that how they came up really with this hybrid insurance? Maybe a lot of clients come in and say, look, can I have the best of both worlds here? Yeah. I'd like a benefit, and I'd like to be sure that I'm healthy and I can afford long-term health care insurance.
Yeah, hybrid insurance has become extremely popular. Again, it addresses what I call the use it or lose it proposition with traditional long-term care insurance. And also, as I mentioned earlier, I mean, you're capping your costs, so that you're not going to have to worry about those 30% rate increases in the future, because once you pay into a hybrid long-term care insurance policy, that's yours. It's contractual because it's an insurance product.
Now, Seth, if someone decides to talk to one of your advisors at Brookstone, and I encourage you to do so, if they decide to do that, what do they need to bring to the first meeting? I mean, how much information do you want? I think you said once it was like, what are you comfortable with?
Well, that's just it, John. I mean, you got to bring what you're comfortable with, but ultimately it comes down to the more information that you provide us, the better advice we can provide you. Things like brokerage account statements, 401k statements, maybe a copy of your existing life insurance. Tax returns are often helpful too, because we do a lot of planning to help clients minimize excessive taxes in the future. Maybe it's Roth conversions, maybe it's a gifting strategy, whatever it is. But the more information they provide us, the better advice we can provide them.
This is really good information. I'm curious. I think we've talked before. The average age of one of your clients is mid-50s. Yeah. So if you're out there watching, you're thinking, it's too late for me. It's not.
It's never too late, John. It's never too late to build a comprehensive financial plan. I mean, again, you want to address those problems when they're far off into the future than when they're 2 to 3 years in front of you. So, yeah, come in, see us, take advantage of the complimentary consultation. You have nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose. Yeah. Dave is on the line with us now. Dave, good afternoon. Welcome to the show.
Hello, how are you?
We are doing well, Dave. You have a question for Seth?
Yes, I do. I was under the impression the first $1 million and under was not taxable on an inheritance tax issue from father to son. Is that correct?
Yeah, Dave, what you're referring to right now is what's the current federal estate tax exemption is currently at $1 million. Now, here's what I would caution you, Dave. We have $17 trillion worth of debt in this country. Someone has to pay, whether it be now or later. I see that as a low-hanging fruit of taxation. Personally, my personal opinion is you're likely to see those federal estate tax thresholds increase or decrease in the future.
Yeah. I see. So right now, yes, it's good, but that could change like you said, low-hanging fruit, they're going to look at that and go, okay, there's a source of income.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Makes perfect sense. Dave, thank you for the call, and thank you so much for watching. All right, once again, we have a trivia question is up. $30 gift certificate to Cluckers. Once again, we'll throw that up here in a second and hopefully get a winner. All right, so you come into Brookstone Financial, you bring what you're comfortable with, and you talk to one of the advisors, and then what's the process there? Do you make some recommendations? You all evaluate and make some recommendations? Come meet a week later? How does that work?
Yeah, first of all, it's fact-finding on the front end. We just gather a lot of information from people that are, they're coming in to see us. They want that second opinion. So bring as much as you're comfortable with. We'll do all the fact-finding, gather information. Then we'll usually spend about a week and a half before we get together the second time to put together a recommendation, and then just talk about moving forward at that point. And it ultimately, John, we're not necessarily a good fit for everyone. It has to make sense for them, has to make sense for us. It's all about the relationship. I mean, they have to feel comfortable. You've got to trust whoever you're putting your money with. You have to have a large degree of trust in that individual. So that first appointment usually tells us quite a bit.
I would think so. All right, let's put that trivia question up on the screen. I think we have a winner once again. So here we go. I'm going to let you do the play-by-play again, Seth.
Yeah, how many Americans have long-term care insurance? And John, the answer is C. It's actually 8 million Americans currently have long-term care insurance.
And there's your winner, Carolyn Danley. She is the winner. $30 gift certificate to Cluckers in Jeffersonville, Indiana. Congratulations, Carolyn, and thank you so much for watching. This has been interesting. Okay, we've had a number of topics over the last, I guess we've been together about a month.
Yep.
So we've talked everything about annuities, we talked about real estate investments, we talked about your roadmap to retirement. Today we talked about really kind of getting ahead of and protecting your retirement dollars if you're worried about health care. What's the big topic next week, Seth?
Well, John, I mean, next week we're going to take it back a little bit, and we're going to talk more about Social Security and Medicare, because Social Security is a big decision that many Americans are facing. We get a lot of calls about Social Security. We have a great kit on our website, by the way, 2015 Social Security and Medicare Facts Kit that you can download. It's absolutely free of charge. So again, visit our website, brookstonefinancial.com. A lot of great information, but we're going to bring it back to Social Security and Medicare once again. All
righty, and before we go too, I want to tell you about some upcoming events. Actually, I'm going to have Seth tell you about those. One of them I think is interesting, an antique appraisal event, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. I mentioned my mother's been into antiques for years, and she's still surprising me, but we're having a professional appraiser come to two of our offices, the one over in Jeffersonville at the McCauley Center. That's February 12th, 3 to 7 p.m. Then out at our Jasper office, February 19th, 3 to 7. We will have drinks and appetizers on hand. Each participant can bring up to 5 items to have professionally appraised, so that's pretty cool.
All right, and we also
Great
have
opportunity.
a legacy event. I call it the legacy event. I'm sure it goes much deeper than that, but let's talk about those upcoming events as well, Seth.
Yeah, John, you know, transferring what's left to the next generation, you mentioned earlier, you know, I hope my last check bounces. That's not always the case, but if there is anything there, we want to efficiently transfer that to the next generation. We have 2 workshops coming up. The first one's at Kingfish, March 12th and 17th. And that's in Jeffersonville, Indiana, 6 to 8 p.m. Clifty Falls out in Madison, March 5th, March 10th, 6 to 8 p.m. Call the number there at the bottom of the screen if you'd like to RSVP.
Always good information with Seth Stewart, who is a managing partner at Brookstone Financial. And again, I know we put a lot of information up on the screen, but I think it's important that you know here are their offices of Brookstone Financial, and you can set up an appointment today. As you said, the first appointment is absolutely free.
Free consultation. We can meet at the office in Louisville, Jeffersonville, Madison, Jasper, whatever's most convenient for you.
All righty. Opening new offices. What's the big future for Brookstone Financial? You seem to be growing quite a bit.
We're kind of moving up and down the Ohio River, believe it or not, on the Indiana side. So, you know, who knows? Maybe out in Evansville, possibly.
All right. We encourage you to set up an appointment soon. And by the way, don't forget now, every Monday for really good retirement information, the roadmap to your successful retirement is with Brookstone Financial, right here with Mr. Seth Stewart. All right, coming up, we're going to say goodbye. We'll hang with us just a little bit, and we'll be right back on Wave 3 Listens. So much great information on the Brookstone Financial website. Seth Stewart, what will they find?
Yeah, John, first of all, it's kind of like 30 minutes, it's like taking a drink out of a fire hose. But if you want to go to the website, brookstonefinancial.com, you'll see a lot of the topics we discuss on the show, a lot of report downloads, videos. So